Hey guys, it's Alexandra. Today I'm going to be talking to Symphony, who is a Marine Corps veteran and a sexual assault survivor. She speaks a lot on her platforms about reproductive rights, so I think whether you're a male or a female or anything in between, you can really use her content and her message to sort of reconsider your perspective on controversial issues that are becoming especially relevant as the new election comes up. So I hope that you will stay tuned and subscribe below for more videos. All right, thank you.
Working. Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you today?
Good. Thank you so much. I was so interested when I came across your account because, I see here and there things on TikTok about, controversial topics, but mainly it's sort of silly stuff that I see. It's sort of kind of like memes and dancing and stuff. So whenever I come across somebody who's really using that platform to speak out about issues that are important to them, I think that is so cool to see because, thousands of people are seeing your videos and hearing your message. And I think that's awesome. So I would love if you could kind of share with me. I know you have military involvement and you're a sexual assault survivor, correct?
Yes.
And so those two things are very impactful in anybody's life. So I think the ability to not hide and to actually come forward and be open about that is great. So if you would be comfortable enough to share with me what you've been through, I would love to hear it.
Of course. One, this is my first time doing this, so
yeah. Wherever you want to start is fine.
In a nutshell, I was sexually assaulted a couple of years ago. This is when I was looking into enlisting in the Marine Corps, and I wound up pregnant despite my attempts to, ensure I wasn't. I tried taking Plan B, but unfortunately it just didn't work for me, and I ended up having an abortion.
Do not comment that I should have given birth when I was pregnant and I should have put the baby up for adoption because I didn't want it, and that there are plenty of other couples out there that would love a baby. If those couples want a baby, if you want to sit there and push how adoption is always an option, go tell those motherfucking couples to adopt the fucking kids in the fucking foster care system that have no parents. Go tell them to go adopt the fucking kids who don't know love. Go tell them to go adopt the fucking kids that have been emotionally, physically, and sexually abused by the system. There are fucking kids out here sitting in a system getting moved around from home to home because they aren't a shiny new baby. Children are not toys, they're not cars. You don't go and say, oh, I want a kid, but I only want the new one. You care so much about the fucking kids, go care about the actual fucking living kids who don't know love, and stop being concerned with a fucking fetus that didn't even know that it was gonna be born. You care so much about the fucking kids, go care about the fucking kids. Mind your fucking business, bitch.
And then continued to then go on and enlist in the Marine Corps back in 2018. And I stayed there for about a year and a half. I got injured after boot camp in a training incident in MCT, and I was discharged back in May of 2019, which wasn't the best feeling. But it was from there that, as being a civilian again, that I was able to take the time to kind of process what I had been through. And I, again, kept trying to put it on the back burner. It wasn't until 2020 when my partner asked me to actually go and talk to someone to get help that I did do that. And I was so grateful I did. It made me more comfortable. It helped me process what I was going through. And then one day I saw this video on TikTok of someone trying to tell sexual assault survivors what they could and couldn't do with their bodies. And it set off, it kind of made me snap in a way. And I made a response video. And from then, I have been talking about it. It's been about a month that I've been openly speaking out about sexual assault and bodily autonomy. I don't think it would have been something I would have talked about if I hadn't seen that video. Essentially, that would be the whole reason why I even said anything in the first place. Mm-hmm. I think my story is that's pretty much all I have in terms of what my story is.
Right. So what do you think when you saw that video and you got upset about it? what do you think made you want to share your voice rather than just being upset and expressing it to a friend or something like that? What made you want to go online and put that out there?
Because essentially, I knew that there was someone else out there that was like me, that had gone through that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And you have someone with a large platform telling you or shaming you for something that you've been through and the decision that you've made regarding that. And I knew that there would be another person out there like me that would see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted, even if it only reached 20 people, I wanted them to know that the decision they made was valid and that they made the best choice for them. I couldn't just let it sit there.
So when people comment to you on those kind of videos and say that you're so angry and you're just bitter and angry and you need to stop being so angry, what is your response to that?
My response to people telling me that I'm being bitter and angry is I am within every right to be angry. I have spent a lot of time trying to subdue how I feel and push it to the side. And so I will not stop being angry, is typically what my response is to them. If something I say makes someone feel uncomfortable, that is the point. If you are uncomfortable, that means that something you have heard has stopped you in your tracks and it is making you reevaluate the things that you stand for. And hopefully it gives you the ability to connect with another human being and quite possibly change your mind.
And I think as elections approach and people are, starting to, for whatever reason, it seems like issues really come to the forefront once somebody new is elected in office that may have been existing for years and years, but as soon as something's going to change, all of it comes to the surface again. So I'm wondering what is your hope for women during this next presidential term?
My hope for women and really anyone with a uterus is that they don't feel ashamed for their choices. My hope for those of us with uteruses is that we are able to destigmatize these taboo subjects, that it's not something we are ashamed of. We are not ashamed of abortion. We are not ashamed of sterilization. We are not ashamed of reproductive rights. We aren't ashamed of being angry. And I really hope that through this next election, no matter who wins, that we can eventually see that no matter what, we deserve reproductive freedom.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think, what would you hope that men understand about what you're talking about? Because I would assume, and this could be wrong, but I would assume you probably get a lot more of a positive response from fellow women than you do from men.
That's the most surprising part, actually, is the most positive responses when just looking in general between men and women. I get the most positive responses from men. It is actually fellow women that I get the most negative response from. Of course, with men, there are the kind of ignorant comments where they don't really understand, and so they just say something we've been saying for hundreds of years, which is women belong in the kitchen. But the majority of my comments come from women. My goal for men is, if they see that kind of behavior, if they see their fellow brothers, talking this way, if they see them talking down on women or judging them for whatever choices they make reproductively, that they call them out and that they stop the behavior in its tracks. Because it's not just going to be women preaching to men. We need men to keep their brothers in check.
Yeah. And that makes me really sad as a woman that you get hate. I'm glad that I clarified, because unfortunately, it's not just me, but a lot of people go around with the mindset of, if I'm a feminist, men are against me. Men are the opposition, and women are like me, empowering me. So what do you think women are misunderstanding that you wish they would understand from your videos and your voice that you're putting out there?
I don't necessarily think women are misunderstanding. I do think that just in general, the particular mindset that has been taught to us for generations, oftentimes we become immersed in that, and we don't often see the other side. And it's not that they're misunderstanding, but it's that they are so stuck in the way that they know, which is comfortable, that they do not want to understand. Because there are so many people that understand what I'm saying, but they simply will tell me, I'm choosing not to agree with you. I'm choosing to still feel this way about you. And it's kind of disheartening in a sense, because you would think you're feminist, you'd be fighting against men, but most of the time we end up fighting against ourselves. And it's kind of disheartening, honestly.
Yeah. Are there any experiences you've had that you can vividly remember being oppressed just based on the fact that you were a woman?
Yes. So I was in the Marine Corps, and it's a gun club. Like, there's no other way to put it. It's all the guys hanging out, looking after one another. And specifically, if we're just talking a one-on-one, I had a first sergeant that would constantly, I don't know why it was me, but he constantly found every reason to pick on me, to attack me, to make my life a living hell. And he would come after things he would come after my femininity, essentially. He would come after the fact that my nails were done. He would come after the fact that my hair was short and that it was textured, and I wore it short and textured under a cover. He came after the fact that I wore makeup. And even though I was always in regs, he was always there in the background to constantly, tell me how I was a horrible Marine or how I'm doing something wrong. And eventually I had to paste the rules on the wall. So anytime he tried to, attack me, I could point to him and show him the way he was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually he got moved.
And what do you think, it's so nice to hear, not nice, but helpful, I should say, to hear those kind of stories. What do you think younger women and girls should know about the reproductive rights you talk about? Obviously, the people that are consuming your content are people that understand what's going on. But what do you hope at a younger age people can learn and understand so that when they get to be your age, they can feel comfortable in their own bodies?
My goal is for these younger generations to know that your life is yours. And I want them to know that they need to live their lives and make their decisions for them. And when we talk about reproductive freedom, when we get into that situation, they need to know that no one else is going to have to live with the decisions that they make. And so they need to be sound, and they need to be firm in whatever choice they make. And they need to understand that no matter what, they will have that support. I feel like that's something that we often aren't taught growing up, is that we are shamed for our choices and that there will never be anyone there to support us. So I want our younger girls to know that there's going to be someone there to carry you when you fall. That if you're not strong enough, someone will be there to make sure that you're okay.
Yeah. And do you ever get responses to your videos or your content that make you feel like you're serving your purpose?
Yes. There have been a couple of videos of messages that I've gotten from women who are 15 and 16 years old when they were, assaulted, or they had been through something similar to mine, coming to me and saying, for the longest time, I was afraid to tell my family what happened. I was afraid to talk to anyone about me having an abortion. And the fact that they felt like they could come to me and share that with me, even though they're 10 years my senior, means everything. Or even those that have come to me and said, hey, I was pro-life before, and they've said, well, you've changed my perspective. So even if I might never get an abortion, I totally agree with you. Everyone should have the right to choose. And messages like that have brought me to the absolute floor, like full on tears because it feels like it's worth getting all of that hate.
Mm-hmm.
To know that one person heard it and went, hey, you're right. I see you and I understand you.
And I'm sure you experience this on an even more escalated scale, but I even have family members and friends who will say to me that I think women are better than men. And that's just not what feminism is, but people
It's not.
will still tell me, you probably like, and it'll be in every conversation, it'll be like a little comment of, well, you're probably going to say something about the fact that it's not fair to women, or are you offended by this, or you're going to be offended by it, like I'm so sensitive. But what do you hope that perspective, those people that think feminism is man-hating, basically, what do you think people should understand better about that idea?
Can I first say I'm so happy that I'm not the only one?
Good,
Like,
yeah,
it makes me so happy that you're like, it happens to you too.
yes.
I actually had someone like that leave a comment early on my page, and I made a little response to him. And essentially what that response was is, I cannot fix the way someone views feminism. For all I know, someone could have had just like there's religious trauma, someone can have political trauma. Someone could have had a bad experience with feminism, or someone could know someone who had a bad experience with feminism. So while I will never try to change their minds, I will try to change their heart and let them know that even if they hate on feminist, even if they hate what I will stand for, I will continue to fight for them. I will continue for men who have things against feminism. I will continue to do what I can to help advocate so we can kill that idea that men should be financially responsible for their entire families, that men aren't allowed to speak out against sexual assault, that men are not fit to be the parent when it comes to custody cases. There are so many things that I wish I could, shake into someone and get them to see it. But ultimately, all we can do is continue to advocate for them and let them know that regardless of the way they feel about us, they are loved.
Thank you so much. I think when people look at your videos, although I hope that you know that although there are going to be plenty of people who are going to rip it apart, there are also plenty of people like me who are moved by what you're saying. So I hope that you continue to do it. And I'm really glad that I came across your content. I think stuff like this, that it's in situations where people just are so serious about something and believe in it so much that they do not care if people are going to criticize it or not. They're going to just keep doing it. There's something to be said about that quality. So I hope that you will continue to empower people. And thank you so much for talking to me.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It was an honor just to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, I hope you keep in touch.
I hope we do too. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.